Welcome back to the Voices of Women Summit, where in honor of International Women's Day 2023, we are raising the voices of hundreds of women so that their messages can be heard. Your host for this session is Kimberly Crow. Kimberly is the founder of Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel and Speakers Playhouse, as well as the creator of the Voices of Women Summits. She has another amazing guest coming right up. Take it away, Kimberly.
Amazing guest for sure. You all are going to be very pleased to meet my co-host for Speakers Playhouse and an amazing woman in her own right, the fabulous Gini Trask. Welcome, Gini.
Hi, thanks so much for having me, Kimberly. Oh my God, I cannot believe what you've created here. It's a whirlwind day. There's 300 women speaking today. This is crazy.
It is totally awesome. Gini has been behind the scenes helping a lot of our speakers and our hosts with some challenges that they've had in tech. And she is my partner in very many ways in this world. And I couldn't do it without you. So I love you to pieces. But we're going to talk about your success story right now because your success story is super inspiring. She is a multi-time, multi-millionaire business building woman. And she's going to be talking about the business secrets from her multi-million-dollar business. So, well, let's get into it. But before we do, tell us your story, and I'll actually just let you take it over. Tell us your story of how you started and became so passionate about this particular area, and then you can take it away.
Awesome, will do. So first of all, thanks, Kimberly, for creating this amazing space for people, and this, Kimberly and I often do business related things, but what I love about Voices of Women is it's lifting all women's voices all around the world. And I think that is so incredible. So thank you for creating that space. My name is Gini Trask. As Kimberly said, I have owned or operated 5 multi-million-dollar companies. Several of them, actually 3 of the 5, we took from nothing, from startup all the way into the multi-millions. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, which, in some ways equips you to be a business owner. At least you don't have your family fighting you, thinking that you're crazy for being an entrepreneur. But it doesn't mean that I had all the answers going into it either, right? There were definitely things that I had to learn along the way, and I'm still learning. I'm on my way right now to my 6th multi-million-dollar company. I do think we're going to hit it at the end of 2023, but if not, like 2024 will be easily over $1 million. So I'm very excited about that. And so if you're a business owner, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. If you're an aspiring business owner, put a 2 in the chat. It's okay if you're just aspiring and you haven't done anything yet. Totally fine. And as a matter of fact, Kimberly's an amazing person to know if you haven't done anything with your business yet. Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel has tons of summits and resources and things for entrepreneurs. So I went on my own journey of entrepreneurship. My first business the first business I had was just a small business with my sister when I was a teenager. My second business was a business I had with my mom in the early 2000s, and we took it from 0 to $1 million in revenue in the first 6 months of business. But that wasn't the case with my last business. So you'd think, right, that I just keep going and it would be faster and faster every time. And I'm here to tell you that's not necessarily the case. My most recent multi-million-dollar business is Top Tier Travel. The business is still up and running. And it took me 5 years to get there in that business. And it really had to do with the nature of the business, where I was at the time, and the resources that I had. I personally have never been big on getting a lot of investors or anything like that. Most of the time I've bootstrapped my businesses, and I've helped other business owners to bootstrap their businesses. And I did have, I've had definitely some challenges in business that I'm going to go through with you guys. I realized after the 10th year of being in my very successful travel business that I had grown my business out of a place of wounding, as opposed to out of a place of true joy, right? I had a lot of abandonment in my childhood, and I very much have a big wound around not being good enough. And that drove me to be a perfectionist. If anybody else is a perfectionist in the chat, you can just put, it's never perfect. It's never perfect in the chat, because I definitely really, really identified as a perfectionist. So what I did in order to try to heal my wounds around being not good enough and trying to be so perfect was I got myself into an industry where it could never be perfect. It's travel. Have you guys ever traveled and like it was a little messy and a little not perfect? Yeah, like all the time, right? So what happened is every single day I would get something that wasn't perfect. And then I would be faced with needing to try to make it perfect or wanting to try to make it perfect. And then when I couldn't, really, rather than helping that wound, I was hurting it. I was making it so much worse, right? So I went through a healing program. I've been in it for about the last 2.5 years, and I've now moved on and I'm certified in it. And I help other business owners to heal their wounds that are showing up in their business so that they can really thrive. But I had no idea that I had built this business out of wounding until I got into a healing program. And it became so clear to me that this was just something where I was constantly faced with this wound and then not actually being able to be perfect, not actually being able to heal it. It was just making it worse. So we'll talk about a lot of things here in business, but the first thing that I want to talk about is really the why behind your business, and understanding, why you have chosen the business that you've chosen. What is it about that business? So some of us, like me, I started this business. I very unconsciously was not aware that this business was built out of my wounding. I really was not aware, right? Some of us start a business because it's what we did in corporate. Kimberly has a whole story about how she went from golden handcuffs in her corporate job to doing the exact same thing in her own business and putting herself in a golden jail cell, right? So some of us do that. We start with a business that we think is right for us because it's what we did in corporate life, right? And so we're like, oh, well, obviously I should do that as a professional. Or it's something that other people have told you that you're great at. Here's the thing. There is magic inside of you. And your business is the vehicle for you to get your magic out into the world. It is the vehicle. But sometimes it's difficult to read the label on your jar of magic because you're inside the jar, right? You're inside the jar and you can't read it. And so, it's helpful to have someone else that can help you do that. And that is one of the big things that I do with my clients. I have a thing called Work Party. I have a business called Blissed Out Business, and we have a thing called Work Party. And one of the big things that we do is help you really get down to your magic. But for those of you that are wondering how you can get down to your magic just on your own, I invite you to take some time to yourself when you can be away from others, outside the field of other people. And you can take a moment to breathe in and think back to when you were a child. And the first time that you ever realized that you were magic, the first time that you ever realized that you were powerful, or that you had some kind of crazy special talent, right? Or some kind of crazy special passion. I can remember that as a child, my friends, to really see the greatness in themselves and to step outside of the story of their lives in order to achieve it, even as a small child, right? And I would bring my friends over to my house. We lived kind of on some acreage, and we had like a big forest in the back. And to this day, I own a 30-acre forest, and I take people on retreats in my forest. And so I would take my friends out, and we would go out and we'd play in the woods, and they could let go of all of the things the world was telling them. They could let go of all of the energy that they were in the rest of their world. And they could just be, and they could just begin to feel their own desires and their own magic. So I recommend going out in nature to do this, but really take some time, because a business is like a baby, right? You birth this business, and it's going to hopefully be with you for a lifetime, right? It's hopefully going to be with you for a lifetime. So you want to be sure that what you're bringing into the world is really something that's going to be sustainable to you, something that's going to be inside your zone of genius, and something that is truly a passion, aligned with your passion and your purpose. So yeah, put forest in the chat if you'd like to go on a forest retreat with me. I'm going to be hosting a forest retreat later this year. So if you want information on the forest retreat, put it in the chat. Kathy James, you have a forest too, sister. She has a 5-acre forest. We talked about it. We geeked out about having forests. So yeah, so I encourage you guys to go out, hopefully in nature, put your feet on the ground and really get in touch with yourself again. Go back to that child self, right? What is it that you felt? What was it that lit you up, that made you feel magical, right? For a friend of mine, you know, when I met her, she was bulimic. We were in middle school. She was bulimic. She had really terrible body image issues. She loved to dance. And so she and I just started dancing together like all the time. And we would have drum circles out in the forest. We were really weird kids. And we would do all these things. And now she's a professional belly dancer. Her husband is a professional drummer, and they teach drumming and they teach belly dance. And she teaches other women and girls about self-confidence and self-esteem because she really overcame that. So these are the things that, you know, I look at, you know, can you go back there? Can you go back to that place and get centered in your own power and your own magic, because it's definitely in you. So that to me is actually step number one of building a business. Don't do it like I did. Don't get to like $6 million a year in revenue and then be like, oh, wait, this is a terrible idea for me. This is definitely not what I should be doing. I do still own that business, but I approach it in a very different way, right? So, so first of all, I encourage you to look inside yourself and, you know, tap back into your magic. And if you need some help with that, we're going to talk about my free downloadable later. It's a safety and stability meditation. And so in that meditation, when you're in that place of safety and stability that you're creating for yourself, you can really go there, right? Go to that, to that place of even just ask, right? What is my purpose? What is my magic? And you can ask other people, but be wary of their answers, because other people don't always know better than you, right? But sometimes by hearing them, it can sometimes either help us to quantify or help us to be like, no, I know that's for sure not the thing. So now I'm going to go through a couple of other kind of more, I guess what you would say, practical game changers for business. Number one, don't be everything to everyone. When I first started in my travel business, I had a background in sports travel, you know, packages for the Super Bowl, the Final Four, the Masters, the Kentucky Derby, things like that. And when I opened my own travel business, I literally was getting pulled in a million directions. Like, people wanted to go on to Disney, and they wanted to go on cruises, and they wanted to do all these things. The problem is that the time that it would take me to figure out how to do Disney was like, you know, weeks to figure out what I should be doing and how I should be recommending and that type of thing. But if you wanted to buy a Super Bowl package, I could quote you a Super Bowl package in 5 minutes and probably close the deal a lot easier than Disney, because I knew everything about it, right? So I really did learn to stay in my lane, to stay in my niche. They say the riches are in the niches, right? You know, in the medical field, specialists make more money, right? And here's the thing, when you say out to the world, like, I work with women over 50 who, you know, are looking for balance in their lives, your people are more able to find you, right? They're like, oh, it's not just that she specializes in life balance, but she specializes in life balance for people my age. She's really going to get me, right? It turns out that in business, a lot of my clients wound up being from the same industries that I had previously worked in. And it just worked out because I knew them. So thing number 2, hire an employee as soon as you possibly can. In my travel business, I kept my job, and I wound up taking the money that I could have paid myself and paying an employee instead, even if it's a VA. There is something magic. And guys, you can get VAs for, under, often under $7 or $8 an hour, right? There's something magic about not being in it by yourself, right? There's something magic about having another person that you can delegate to, having that other person that you can, that is in it with you, that's building the vision with you. Kimberly and I talk about the road to joy, right? If you don't relish it, then you need to outsource it. You need to automate it, or you need to delete it or delegate it, right? That's it, right? You need to do those things. So, and it doesn't really matter how small you are. There's magic in having another person that's in it with you that can help you. I can tell you this, every time I've ever hired somebody in a business, the business has more than doubled the year that I hired that person, more than doubled, just because I had that employee that was sharing the load with me. For those of you that are on the fence about it. Okay. Number 3 is to know your numbers and to know what it is, how it is that you're going to get there. And I do, we actually have a profitable entrepreneur workshop coming up on the 24th. It's going to be virtual and in person in Houston. So if you're in Houston, you can come join us in person. If not, you can join us virtually. So if you're interested in the Profitable Entrepreneur Workshop, you can just put you can put workshop in the chat, and we'll get you the information for that workshop. So you can just put workshop in the chat. But it's one of the things we go over in our workshop. We go over this kind of what I call the roadmap to profit. It's really simple, but you need to know what your goal is, and then how that breaks down with your products and your marketing and things like that. As a matter of fact, I might have it, guys. If I have a second, I'll put it in the chat so you guys can grab the workshop. I bet you I have it right here. So you really do need to know your numbers, and you need to look at your numbers on at least a monthly basis. Okay. And nobody wants to look at that part of it, but honestly, once you do, it's magic. The thing that I go over, the roadmap that I go over in the workshop is actually, it's the thing that I was taught by my very wise, my stepmother, who's also a business coach of mine. She literally did, she's owned so many businesses, and she has been my coach for so long. And she literally taught me this. Here we go. I'm going to give you guys the actual workshop link. It's free. So workshop link, it's totally free. So there you go. Oh no, that's the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Hold on, guys. That's the wrong link. Hold on. Let me get you the actual workshop link. So you guys, this roadmap that we go through, the first time I ever did this roadmap with my stepmother, I made, so my goal at the time was to make $50,000. That year, I made $150,000 just from creating this roadmap. So I will put that in the chat for you guys here in just a second. I'm so sorry. I did not give you the right thing, and I will give it to you right now. So let's see. Copy, and let me put it in here for you. All right, sorry, workshop. Oops. Shop. Okay, this should be the right thing. Yep, it is. Okay, so I just put the workshop in the chat. If you guys would like to join, it's completely free. It's on the 25th of March. It's a Saturday, and it's from 10 a.m. Central on. So the last piece is really about finding accountability, an accountability group, a coach, a tribe, people that are in this with you, that are also on this journey. Kimberly and I teamed up in 2020, and guys, we've taken the world by storm together because we can lean on each other. When I can't do something, Kimberly can fill in for me. When she can't do it, I can fill in for her. And sometimes we've created things together, and it's like, she's like, I can't do this anymore. Either you can take it or we're going to quit it. And I'm like, cool, I hate it. Let's quit it. Or I'm like, yes, I'll take it. Give it to me. And you need that tribe. So I created a thing called Work Party, which is designed to do that. So Work Party is actually, it's a $97 a month party We do it every Monday. Every Monday we get together. We have some cocktails and some mocktails. We put out a cocktail and a mocktail recipe every single week, and we go over a core aspect of your business. So we go over accounting, marketing, tech, time expansion, because we don't call it time management. Nobody wants to be managed. We go through these things. We have a great time. We bring in experts that can help you, but then we actually sit down and we get the shit done. So we say that it's all about having fun and getting shit done. And that, to me, having that tribe of people is the most important thing. And that's why I created Work Party. So we're going to put a link in the chat for you guys to join Work Party. And if you are you can try it out. It's like no obligation. You can do a month and then decide you want to cancel it. No big deal. But if you are VIP, you're going to get 2 weeks of Work Party for free. So if you're a VIP, you're going to get 2 weeks of Work Party for free. We would love for you guys to join us, have fun, get shit done, and rock your businesses. Rock your businesses, because guys, I'm telling you, the world needs your magic. The world needs your magic, and your business is the vehicle.
Well, that couldn't have been more beautifully said. I absolutely love it. I agree completely. There is magic inside you, and the world needs you to be able to bring it to the world before you leave this planet. We all only have so many go-rounds here, and we need to get it outside of us. It's Wayne Dyer who said, "Do not die with the music still inside you." You have that magic inside you, and we need it. The world needs it. We need you. Gini, beautifully, beautifully said. Thank you so much for your generosity, giving 2 weeks of Work Party away to our VIPs. You guys need to grab that gift right away to be able to get that safety and stability meditation. If you got the gift, can you please put "I got it" in the chat box? Please put "I got it" in the chat box if you were able to get that. If you are interested in the forest retreats with Gini, please put "forest" in the chat box. And if you are interested in, what was the other one we were talking about? What was the other one? There was one more that we put in the chat. You're on mute.
The workshop. I had completely forgotten about that, Kimberly, when we were backstage. But yeah, you guys can join the workshop. It's our Blissed Out Business Profitable Entrepreneur Workshop, and it's going to be on the 25th. So would love to have you guys join. Oh, Nicole's in here. Nicole is in Work Party. Yay! Nicole's right. Work Party's real fun. We have a real good time. You guys should come and join just to check it out.
There is a cocktail and a mocktail at every month. This is actually the first the first way that Gini and I met. It was quarantine because we met on a cruise, which was right before COVID. It was not the COVID cruise, but it was right before COVID. And we ended up getting locked in, and Gini and I had met. We were planning to make cool stuff together. I told her I wanted to create stages in person, and I was terrified, and she knew all about travel and making that happen. And then she's like, "I want to know about virtual." And I'm like, "I know how to make that happen." So we decided that we would partner up, right? And then all of a sudden COVID hit, and we're like, what do we do now, right? And so she said, "I'm doing this quarantine cocktail hour, and we're going to do it every week until quarantine is over." And I'm like, "That's a great idea." Now, Gini and I thought it would be over in about 4 weeks. That's what we thought when we started. And after about 5 or 6 or 7 weeks, we're like, "I'm kind of tired of getting drunk. Every Thursday night, we need to this day drinking kind of thing needs to stop," right? So we ended up both agreeing that we needed to drop kick it pretty quick, and we did, and it was super fun. But then we created all kinds of other stuff together, because just because you created it doesn't mean it needs to survive, right? Some ideas are meant to die, right? And that one was great, and then it was meant to die. So Gini, we have another amazing
100%.
guest right now. Her name is Michelle Abraham. You know her. We all love her. Michelle is my partner at Potapalooza. Super excited to bring her on to the Diamond Track. But before we let you go, Miss Gini Trask, any final words for our crew?
You are magic. Step up and step into that magic, and let the world experience what you have to offer.
Beautifully said. Words to live by. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you back at the bottom of the hour. I'm Kimberly Crow. Cheers.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing session of the Voices of Women Summit, where our mission is to raise the voices of hundreds of women so their messages can be heard. For recordings of all sessions, plus an amazing VIP gift bundle, upgrade to VIP now. If you have any questions or problems during the summit, email our support team at support@voicesofwomensummit.com. Stay tuned. We have another fantastic speaker coming right up.